Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Coast to Coast Traders podcast. We have a big episode for you guys today between Apex and Topstep limiting the commodity trading. We got, a Furu being called out. We got another Furu offering a crazy mentorship and buying subs on YouTube, and then some crazy payout drama. So let's get right into it, everybody.
Hustling coast to coast. Markets wild, but we do the most. Flex that mind, stay steady and true. Joe and Robbie got the game for you.
All right. So what's up, Robbie? How are you?
Dude, I'm good, Joe. Good to see you. But I am like a little bit shocked about what's going on in the market here, and I just had a question for you. Do you think some
Hmm?
of these prop steps
Top
got
steps?
nipples? Do you think some of these prop firms got nipples?
Bro, and I don't know, but why are you drinking milk right now?
Because I think they're getting milk, bro.
Oh, shoot, dude. I know
Yeah,
these prop firms are getting milk, bro. Look at them. You drinking that whole milk, aren't you, dude? I know
that
you.
3% bovine lactate with a little bit of protein powder in there.
I know it. This dude here drinking milk on a Saturday morning, everybody. For sure. I think some people are really milking these prop firms, and that's what I think it comes down to, right? So, like,
Hmm.
Top Step was, I think, the first one that I saw. They actually did it in 2
Yeah, same.
phases. So they limited
Hmm.
metals trading, right? And they limited people to 5, 10, and 15 micro contracts for these, right?
Right.
And
Hmm.
then, like, I don't even think it was a day later, they changed the limits from 2, 5. So, like, it would be 5 if you're on a 50K, 10 if you're on a 100K, 15 on a 150, right? So pretty easy, just
Yeah.
knock the
Hmm.
0 off, you got it. Then they changed it to 2, 4, and 6, bro. 2
Yeah.
micros.
I know, right? But then I guess Apex felt like they had to one up him, right?
Yeah.
Because they went ahead and just like they nixed the whole thing. They're like,
Yeah.
due to the volatility, we're getting rid of it. So,
Yes. Yes.
here's the thing. Like, I understand. Obviously, you'd be a fool to deny that there's volatility in the market,
Yeah.
but this is all sim trading. So, like, if we're live trading, 100%, I could agree with some policy like this. Say, hey, look,
Right.
guys, we're playing with real capital here. We're gonna take off risk for these instruments. Okay, go back to whatever.
Yep.
But in the sim environment, I mean, there's no liquidity issues, bro.
No.
It's all paper money.
No, and that's the thing is there are some folks who are really milking them for it on the XFAs, right? So, like,
Yeah.
because and we'll get into it, there's a few people who were talking about making big payouts, and then they're all of a sudden getting called up to live after only having 1 payout on their account or whatever. But, for Apex to do it, it doesn't make any sense. So either, like, I
Right.
it's either 1 or 2 of these things, right? So it's either A, B, or C, which is both, right? For Apex, it's A, they are getting taken to the cleaners, and it is taking a big hit to their bottom line where traders are winning big, big, big consistently on the metals and the gas market, and they're taking huge
Yeah.
payouts
Oh
because
yeah.
of it.
Hmm.
B, they actually have put some people on live, or they're copying these trades to live. They haven't told the traders
Yeah.
they're taking them to live, and these traders are getting cooked, and Apex is
Oh
taking a
man,
hit. Either way,
I didn't even think about that. That's a really good point. That's a
because
really good point.
my theory there is nobody has ever been moved to live officially on Apex. Nobody. We've never heard of
Yeah,
anybody.
not that I know of anyway.
No,
Hmm.
no, like
Yeah, and you'd
everybody talks
think if
about it.
somebody was, they'd be promoting it, right? Because all these
Right.
other firms are pretty proud of their live people going up.
Right. So if Apex has admittedly never moved anybody to live, you've never heard about anybody get moved to live. What if they've just been copying the really good traders in the live market and then say, oh, shoot, now we've been doing it and these traders are hosting us. Either one of those things, right? Either one of those scenarios results in a massive hit to the Apex bottom line. So what are they going to do?
Yeah.
They're going to cut you off. And that's what they did.
Right.
And Top Step's doing the
Yeah,
same
that's pretty
thing.
wild.
Top Step's doing the same thing. At least Top Step is more widely known as being more of a prop firm, like actually trying to have risk managers and stuff like that. So I could see
Yeah,
it
give them
there.
some credit where credit's due.
Mm.
But yeah, obviously this is like, okay, we gotta we got to rein this in because it's the money's coming in too free, but it's also going just as fast. And it's funny, Joe, because like just like last June when I was trading gold, I was comparing it to like ES,
Mhm.
and now gold is like crazier than NQ,
Dude, it's cracked
and
out.
silver is like even more bonkers, dude. It's and so yeah, like I mean I get it, but from the life perspective for sure, and then even from the business perspective, you know, I can't say that if I was running my own prop firm that I'd have to seriously consider how to make the business sustainable for the long term
Sure.
because of this sudden spike and change in you know rotation of market. Yeah, people really flooded the metals. So
Sure, and that's
yeah,
that's the
it
one
makes
thing
sense.
we have to be honest and fair in our evaluation of Topstep or any other brokerage firm that decides to do this. The margins on the metals and some of these tickers have been steadily increasing. So if the margin
Oh yeah,
requirements are increasing, realistically speaking, if you worked at a true prop firm, your risk manager would be meeting with you in the morning saying, "Hey guys, your position limits are now reduced due to increased margin requirements. We cannot afford this level of risk if one of you gets blown out by a wild move."
right.
That makes
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. Because like I
total
feel like
sense.
we're getting margin increases like
Mhm.
sometimes multiple times a week,
Yeah.
and I feel like we've had at least 5 or 6 of them since November.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So I think it's pretty wild that Apex did it though, so because it's only a sim environment, but we'll see how this is gonna
Yeah,
play out. We'll see if they ever bring it back. Um,
yeah, I'm sure they will, but it'll be a while.
so so moving on from that, we got another big thing. Robbie, I love this picture you posted here, bro. I love this picture.
You gave away the topic.
Dude, this is something here, man. This is something. What who is this? Walk us through this, bro.
So this is Tony Trades, aka Scarface Trades. I don't actually know what his real name is. I knew it at one point. I kind of forgot, but somebody I used to follow a long time ago. He posts a lot of YouTube content and often a lot of big wins. And he often even opened his videos with, "Hey, I'm a verified trader," or maybe not verified, but I've been trading. And he shows brokerage statements.
Mhm.
So this is where he got in trouble, Joe.
Yeah.
Do you see what happened? Because it took me a while to figure it out.
Yeah, so basically when you add all of this up, he's off by 10 bucks. And
Yeah,
Marco's mom, shout out to you, Marco's mom. Um she did the math for everybody. So like if you just add all of this up, you got 453 927, where when he posts over here, it's 453 937, right? And
yeah.
so there's a weird change in the overall balance. I think this is what she's adding up right here: the 71,000, the starting value, the realized P&L, the interest that he's earned, the change in
Yeah.
interest accruals, right? It all adds up, right? And I started doing this. I was like, okay, well, 695, that makes sense. I'm going through this, and now I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, wait a second, because I didn't
Yeah.
see her post with the calculator. I was like, well, how is this wrong? So then,
You think it's because Canadians are nicer, and so, like, they just give 'em a they just round it up? Because hey, bud?
yeah, dude, I think that's, you know what? I'm close enough to Canada. Maybe they can round it up and give me 10 bucks.
Yeah. So, I don't know, man. He logged in live on it, like, first of all, so what was the nasty part is that he deleted his post.
Yeah, dude.
That's where Marcus Baum called him out,
So that looks fishy, bro. That right there,
for sure.
that's the fishy part of the story that really kicked this off. So, how did this
Mhm.
dude, or why did this dude delete the post to begin with? He doesn't address that.
Yeah, and I feel like that's a problem.
Mm.
And, you know, I don't know, like, 'cause I mean, if it was me, if it's 100% legitimate, even though there's a typo, I would just leave it up. And then I'd have a second post say, "Hey, look, guys, this is what's going on. This, whatever. It's a weird anomaly. Blah blah blah."
Yeah.
And
Dude,
he made a video. Was it the same day or the next day?
I think it was that night, the night that all of this unfolded. He made a video and he does a quote unquote live login. Do you remember the
Yeah.
last person who did a live login? I think we talked about him.
Uh, was it Jay Dunn?
It was actually well, close. It was Danny
Oh,
Trades,
okay.
who
Danny Trades. Oh, okay.
this
That
was
yeah, that's right. Because
Yeah, this was a little
Mhm,
over, I think, a little over a year ago when that whole thing unfolded, and
mhm.
because now Funded Futures Families had a different CEO for like a year. I just saw like an email advertisement for their 1 year
Okay.
celebration under a new CEO, right? But
Yeah.
Danny Trades faked a live login. Like he was able to make the screen look like he was logging in live. And then there was like
Mhm.
a microsecond clip that somebody caught, like a 2 frames, and somebody caught it and was like,
Oh,
"Yo, this is
okay.
a fake," and then they called him out on it, and that was like Danny Trades unraveled even more. So
Oh,
all
man.
this to say, I don't believe this live login. I don't believe that you're logging in to IBKR, Interactive Brokers, and your P&L
Mhm.
screen is off by $10. I don't believe it. Like, not for a second.
Yeah.
Get the
It's
brokerage
really
firm
hard,
to complain that.
but the funny thing is he posts or he uploads the statement to ChatGPT and say, "Is this?" And he says something like, "Is this fake?" And then it's like, "Oh, no, it's not fake." And I'm like, "Come on, bro." Like, first of all, these large language models are notorious for hallucinating,
Mhm.
on
Mhm.
sometimes even the best of days.
Mhm.
And I don't know that they're necessarily trained on brokerage statements, quite honestly. So why would they even know what's real or what's fake other than looking at the logo and like are they even looking for what's supposed to add up mathematically? I doubt it.
Yeah, I don't believe it for a second. I feel like if you're remotely skilled at, Adobe, some Photoshop or whatever, this would be really easy to do. And we've
Oh,
seen
100%.
countless people fake it time and time again. Now, there were people in the comments saying, I'm in his room. I trade with him every day. I've never seen him take a loss. Excuse me. Okay.
Yeah, and frankly, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. It's the way he handled it is probably the worst part about it.
Yeah, it's the way he handled it that make you go,
Mhm.
I don't know, bro. I don't know about this. So
So if you're ever wondering about if your Furu is the right one to follow, I would say check out our episode about Furus because we talked in depth about that, and
that's
I think
right.
that'd be a good one for you guys to go watch. But what do we got next, man?
So our boy PW, I don't know why I call him our boy. He's not our boy, but um, Patrick Wieland, very, very interesting week for him, right? So the
hmm
backstory on PW is he's currently got a lawsuit going. Topstep has sued him, right? They're claiming
Right.
that he disclosed some proprietary information, yada, yada, yada. I can't wait to see how that plays out in court, to be honest. I think that will be a fantastic episode once that all
I kind of
unfolds.
forgot about that, really.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did. So
hmm
now he's running in next month in March. He's running this $1 million mentorship. Okay. So you pay $100,000, 100 G's.
hmm
You'll have the food, the lodging included. I mean, I better be up at the Ritz Carlton or something for this. And then,
5 star, he says.
yeah, okay. Okay.
hmm
You'll do some fishing. I'm afraid of the
hmm
water, bro. Get me a life jacket. Uh, you do some trading, and it's a week long. And supposedly he's gonna, I don't know if he's just run this mentorship, teach you how to make money, teach you how to be number one.
Yeah, dude. So if people were roasting Lance Brightstein about charging what was it, $4,000 or $4,000 a month,
I don't know what he
whatever it
charges.
was.
I don't know what he charges.
Yeah, for whatever it was, like people were kind of like already kind of balking at that because okay,
Oh,
why
please.
are you this multi-million dollar trader,
Yep.
market wizard, and then you're falling back on mentorships? So it's like, okay, I understand that access to powerful people or intelligent people comes at a price. Like, I mean, look, if you had somebody that you had the opportunity to auction a dinner, win a raffle to have dinner with somebody, there's probably somebody that you'd pay money to sit with, right?
Yeah. Uh,
hmm
yes. Yes. I think everybody's, got a I mean, yeah.
And especially for charity, right? Because there's two components there. So you're giving a charity that you like, and then B, you get a little payback because you get to go sit down with somebody. But like this is wild, man. I think this takes the cake for anybody that we've seen advertising a mentorship or something.
Yeah.
So I see you pulled up Lance's page, huh?
Yeah, dude. So this is a lot. I mean, it says 12 G's right here. It's the Elite Plus membership. So it says something about Elite membership billed annually at 54.97 a year. Um, membership auto renews unless otherwise canceled before the renewal date due to the consumable nature. No refunds. You got a one-on-one hour session with Lance, full review of your trading data and history, complete videos, 200 videos in the course, live Ask Me Anything monthly sessions, and exclusive invites to annual
Right.
meetups and dinners with Lance.
So I think there's a lot of value here.
I do think there's a lot of value in that for $12,000 in the year. If I'm going to have a one-on-one hourly call with the trader who's verified by a couple different firms, he's made over $10 million in a year multiple times.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like there's a lot of value there potentially for 12 grand. However, a whole week with Patrick, oh
Yeah, but
no.
right. So but plus 200 videos, right?
Right.
And so that's the big difference for me. It's like, okay, Joe, we know you can teach somebody like the basics of trading, like just some of the basics in about a week, maybe. But it's still going to take them a long ass time to like fully internal those things. Like you could teach somebody some price action, and you could teach some support and resistance and stuff. Like in about a week, you can teach the basics,
All right, Robbie.
but it's still going to take a long time.
I want to play devil's advocate here for our viewers who have been watching and they've been trading more than a week, okay? If price
Hmm.
action is going up, if the price keeps going up, 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 and we're in a solid, nice bullish trend,
Yeah.
not necessarily me, but why do I keep taking a
Hmm.
short, Robbie?
Well, yeah, that's the problem
That is the problem.
because you're predicting,
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, like
Right.
real, keeping it
Explain.
real, like hey, yeah, guys, it's like everybody so many people will say it's simple, and it is simple,
It is.
but it's just because something is simple doesn't mean it's easy. And
Mm-mm.
it's about the complexity of the market because there's so many different factors. So like 7 days with Patrick, I almost feel like half of it's going to be a party.
Mhm.
And are you recording this? Like, are you bringing your own camera? Are you going to do like the whole GoPro action cam and you're going to record every single minute of it? Or are you just there for the experience? And how much of the knowledge that Patrick's going to, give to you while you're there, how much of that are you actually going to retain?
Right. 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 This is funny too because these 2 guys, like, hate each other. So it's really funny that we're
Oh,
now
yeah.
comparing them because, um, I don't know that I really think that 12K could be worth it, maybe. I think for the average person, you have to look at, like, how much capital do you have to play with in the market too, right? Because you're gonna drop 12 grand and
Sure.
then you don't have any money to trade with, like, it's gonna take you years to recoup that, if ever, right? Versus,
Yeah, of course.
if you're somebody, you're a doctor, a lawyer, dentist, etc., you got a high net worth or whatever, and you're trying to take on trading and you want to trade, dropping 12 grand for you and your monthly mortgage payment is 10 grand probably doesn't feel like a lot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, it's interesting. But back to your point, though, is a lot of people were crapping on Lance because the point was if you're really good, why do you even need to do this? And the other aspect of that is just like the Joker said in The Dark Knight, if you're good at something, never do it for free. So
Yeah.
he wants to teach people how to trade, which is less stressful than actually trading. I get that.
Hmm.
So you got to pay a price to have access to them. I get it.
Yeah. Right. But $100,000, I think that's milking it more than the prop rooms.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah. I do also have another little feeling about Lance not trading, and I mean, I'm not a Lance hater. I think the guy is pretty smart and everything, but do feel kind of like he's being a little bit of like a whiny baby sometimes when he talks about like his sleep and his recovery and wearing the aura ring and worried about
Right.
his health. And it's like, did you mean to tell me after all these years of trading, you can't extract more than your monthly expenses from the market with a reasonably low rate of stress? Like,
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, I don't wanna look at a screen." Well, so what are you doing when you're looking at the mentorship, bro? You're not looking at a screen? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I we did we do an episode on Lance? I think we did, or at least we
A
talked
little
about
bit.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And maybe at one point we should do a different episode because there was Lance interviewing that one guy. You shared it with me. He did a full interview with this guy that people think is like a scammer because he doesn't
Yes.
actually trade.
Yes.
That might be something to revisit, but maybe take a look at our archive and see about what we've said about Lance already. But
Yes. Who was that guy?
I think
Damn it. He doesn't trade much
I don't
anymore.
know, but
We'll find it.
he pirated Qual Maggie's course or something, and he learned how
Mhm.
to trade.
Mhm.
But yeah, I thought it was interesting.
I did too. I thought it was a really good episode too. Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll talk more about Lance in the future. But
yeah,
for right now, that's just my stance. Is like, dude, you complain a lot. Like for a dude who's concerned about all about your health and everything, you complain about your health a lot. Like complain about all these different
yeah.
things and this different factors. It's like, dude, like nut up a little bit,
And you know
bro.
what, Joe? Maybe in 15, 20 years, maybe we'll have to owe him an apology. And depending on how we're doing and how we're handling the market.
Yeah, but I dude, hold on though. I think like I don't think I'm gonna. I understand. I accept that the trading the market is stressful. I accept that. It is.
Yeah.
There is a
Hmm.
certain level of stress, right? But then like he'll be the same type of trader that would tell you, in a mentorship, if the one particular position is stressing you out too much or whatever, then then you have too big of size. Well, dude,
Hmm.
like no one's telling you to risk $2 million on a trade, Lance, but you did that and you lost. Like, you know
Right.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Good point.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're too stressed out about the trade money, it don't matter. Maybe you risk 50 grand to trade or 20 grand to trade, and if you're as good as when at trading as you are, then your win rate and everything should keep you more than keep you afloat. Like I kind of feel like,
Yeah, that's a good point.
and a lot of traders experience a high level of stress, not to derail this whole episode, but just from,
Hmm.
don't they experience it from the desire to win and what that money means for the utility of their life?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know. We'll revisit it though.
Yeah.
But what's the other thing
Hey, but
Patrick's
before
doing?
we
You put
move
us
on,
on. You put us onto this.
yeah, okay. So I was seeing on X somebody mentioning, I think it was Minx,
Mm.
that he's suddenly got a massive boost in subscribers.
Mhm.
So I went to Social Blade. It's a popular website that a lot of content creators use to like track their views and subs and like projections versus other channels and things like that.
Yeah.
And here we have here suddenly PW's got this massive, like basically 300K spike in subs. And what's funny is the day that this is a more recent screenshot, but the actual day that I looked it up, I don't know if I saw the actual million subscriber tick or if it just hadn't updated, but I literally saw the flat 1 million number when I looked at his subs. But what we know about YouTube content creation is that if you have a hit video, yes, you're going to get a massive spike in views and you will get a small fraction of subscribers because not all the viewers are going to subscribe. That's just the bottom line. That's how YouTube works. They might not subscribe for several videos. Some might never subscribe.
Mm.
But what you typically would not see is an insane number of subscribers and then your viewership actually declining. That makes absolutely zero sense.
Right.
And so that's what we have here on this picture. So we have the bottom chart is the views and the top part is the subs. And I think I think it's so bizarre because like his channel was fine. His X presence was good. He had a decent stream with live people coming in. He's had the videos where he did that whole uh, Furu trade battle with those two women. I forget their names already, but that got some viewership. I'm sure he's doing just fantastic on the prop affiliates and stuff. So like, what's the need to boost to 1 million viewers or subscribers other than just the ego of saying, "Oh, I got a million subs. I'm the best, trading channel on YouTube." But
Mm,
nah, dude.
something, yeah, because something's not checking out here, man. So like, here's his monthly views in April of last year, and he had a spike in subs, right? Like this, the subs are
Right.
spiking, and this is the monthly gained. So
Yeah.
this isn't his total subscribers. This is just what he gained. So off of this
Hmm.
many views, off of nearly 2 million views in the month of April, he gained only 50,000 subs. But now, off of less than
But that
one,
makes sense though because both are
yeah,
increasing, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a direct
Hmm.
correlation here. It's interesting that
Yeah.
there's not really a correlation here, here, or here. Like these are micro blips, you know?
Yeah.
So he
So
did
that
some,
does make me wonder if he bought viewers.
yeah, maybe he did buy some there or whatever. But
Hmm.
if he didn't, looking at this, I would say whatever content you were pushing out and you pushed out in this time frame, go back to that model. Figure out what drew people in on that model to subscribe to you because your views were good and your subs were going up.
Yeah.
And then, but I don't understand this. December, like 1 million views, you gain 250 subs, 250,000 subs.
Right. Right. Right.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought we should bring it up because, especially with this whole mentorship thing, it's interesting. I just don't see any need for it.
I don't either, unless he's just trying to build or continue to build his case that he's got, a huge social media following with a huge subscriber count. And so that's why he is who he is.
Right.
But yeah, damn.
It is what it is. I mean,
What do you guys
whatever.
think? What do you guys think? Weigh in on the comments. Is he buying subs or not? Let us know.
Yeah.
I think my final verdict is yes, although I didn't know that was a thing. And then why aren't you just buying bots?
Yeah. They're bots. So yeah, these they don't lead to anything. Yeah. It's just for your sake, really.
Yeah, well, you know what? We need to just put mental note. Let's revisit this in like 1 month and 3 months. Like, all right, we're 90 days out from this. Quick recap. Is Social Blade,
Take a look at these.
yeah, just pull
Yeah.
up the
Sure.
Social Blade.
Hmm.
So, so moving on from that, man, Top Step is really bottom step. They're really bottom stepping people out here.
Yeah.
We're running into a lot of issues with payouts and hedging, huh?
Yeah. So people are getting emails going back many months
Mm,
saying that they hedged, and it's conveniently happening when they're submitting a payout. And so obviously we know that hedging is not good. And in fact, even recently we've known some traders that have gotten blocked on take profit, or not necessarily blocked, but accounts lost because copy trading issues.
right.
So you have a failure, and then suddenly your one account is opposite of the others, and that's a big no-no. Obviously, if this is live trading, that's a massive no-no as well, because that's where the rule comes from.
Right.
But why are they deciding to like dig this up going so far back? That's the
Dude,
big question for me.
dude, if I had to say one thing, it's a bottom line play, bro. It's I'm not paying you
Mhm.
and I'm protecting my bottom line, which is crazy because if you guys remember, we've covered on this channel before that they said something like what only 12.5% of traders, 12% of all traders even pass the evaluation stage, right?
Yeah,
So uh or maybe it was only I
I think
can't.
we might do a new episode about something like that in the future because I have a more recent post from somebody else about a different firm that has some stats I think it'd be interesting to talk about.
Yeah, 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 for sure. So in this particular instance, this guy is getting accused of hedging. Oops.
Mhm.
Sorry. He's getting accused of hedging on November 12th, right? So we're
Yeah.
about 3 months removed from this. And so if you look at the timestamps on this, he was entered in here, he exited here.
Hmm.
2 minutes 45 seconds. Eight
Hmm.
seconds later, 8 seconds later, he was long. So he went short to long. This trade gets closed out at 10:03:33. 1 minute later, he goes back to being short.
Yeah.
There's no hedging here. There is a very clear distinction. This trade ended, this trade ended, this trade ended, like, and so on.
Yeah, except though this is just one account, right? So they're not showing the leader account potentially if this is a copy trade failure situation.
That's
Because
true.
that's what they're saying is they're saying one account
Hedged with the
was
other.
long while the other one was short.
Oh, good point. Good point. He's not showing the executions for both trades, both accounts.
Right. And so I think it would be important for them to say, hey, look, this, not only this is where you were, these transactions, but I want to see the other one.
Hmm. Yep.
But, the thing is, though, regardless if it's intentional or copy trade or glitch, I mean, that's the rules. I mean, it sucks. It really does suck. But that should have been handled back then,
Yeah.
and it should have no bearing on anything that's going on now.
This should be automated. You should know right away,
Hmm.
or hey, I'm losing this, or what
Right.
have you. So it's crap, dude.
Yeah.
It's absolute crap. And then there's a few other ones, man. So we already touched on this one. This guy
Hmm.
turbo trades. He's being wrongfully accused of hedging a $50,000 XFA balance with a combine, bro. A combine. Why would you go long on an XFA and go short on a combine or vice versa? Why would you do that?
So, like, okay, so especially when your buffer is so big, because he's setting up to go to live here, I would imagine, because
Right.
on Top Step, the most you can bring to live is $50,000. So my guess was that, which is strange though, because if you're going to be going to live, then you can't buy any more accounts anyway.
Mhm.
So, but my guess would be like maybe you were copy trading a combine, right? And if that's the case, then it's still potentially a copy trader issue.
Mhm.
But this is
So
just this is just crazy, dude.
it is really crazy. So I'm just kind of like scrolling through these comments real quick because I can't remember if there was immediately something down here. But even if you were hedging it with, here's the crazy stuff is like, even if you're hedging it with a combine, what it's starting to look like as we go through more and more of these posts is
Yeah,
the crappy Project X platform that Top Step locked people into is now
right.
underperforming. It's messing up. It's negatively impacting traders, and so therefore, who pays the price? The trader.
Yeah.
This sucks, dude. This is bottom set
Well,
behavior for sure.
yeah, absolutely. But I'm not sure if this is the next one, but there was one that they went back even 6 months, bro, and
Uh,
that's just too much. Like I I think more than a month is too much. Like it really should be like within a couple of days tops, I would say. It was oh, it was the Rob Trades one, or did we look at Rob Trades? Sorry, I got my post mixed up. But
this one's yeah on 9/9,
yeah. So that's wild, dude.
bro.
But
It's crazy.
that's actually not even. Yeah, that wasn't even the one, I don't think. But yeah.
It's because this is an express funded account he had since June, and he's saying
Oh, right, right, right. My bad, my bad.
yeah, and then
Yeah, yeah,
he's
yeah.
hedging it with
Hmm.
an express account he had from January. So this is like a very long-term trader
Hmm.
who's had these express accounts for a really long time, suddenly getting called out on the carpet for something that isn't like this is months later.
Yeah. So, and also, Joe, like we both know that having a funded account more than a few months is a pretty good feat.
Absolutely.
And for this guy to have that account, I mean, and obviously, we don't know how often he's trading. Maybe he's only flipping a couple of micros to keep it active. But if he was trading it normally, um, to have that account for so long, that's pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
Then on
Absolutely.
on the flip side, though, if he wasn't just flipping it to keep it active, he'd probably have already been moved to live, right? Because 5 payouts moved to live.
Maybe, or maybe because he's trading MES, he trades really small. Maybe his model doesn't present itself every day. Maybe he's just one of those like, I'm going to take this slow and steady type of guys. And,
Sure.
he's got, there could be a variety of reasons to explain that. But the fact remains, they're saying on September 9th, bro, 5 months
Mhm.
ago, you were hedged. Come on. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, it's 6 months as of 2 days from now.
So the thing is too
So
is that uh do you remember when Topstep was trying to form this Project X backdoor brokerage thing?
consortium,
Yeah, where
like
they
they wanted to be the uh,
conglomerate.
moderators of the
Yes.
prop space, something like that, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
So
I remember.
what they wanted to do, for those of you who don't know, is what they wanted to do is they wanted to combine data sources with all of the other prop firms to make sure that you as a trader weren't hedging across firms, which you currently can do. Why somebody would do that is beyond me. I think it's the stupidest thing ever. But granted, if you were to use a firm that didn't have intraday trailing drawdown, it was end of day, right? Which because intraday you could lose both accounts in just a whipsaw. But if you had end of
Yeah.
day trailing drawdown, what you could do is just go long on the open on or long at any point in time on one account, short on the other, especially if you're allowed to trade news, catch a massive win, and then trade it small to get the payout and then proceed. Right? If there wasn't a
Right.
consistency rule. So Top Step is being one of those firms. And so the reason I say that is they were trying to put all this these tools in place, this data in place into the back end to make sure that traders weren't doing
Hmm.
this. And now they're going to call traders
Yeah.
on the carpet for it 5 months after the fact.
Yeah. Exactly. So like, how? Imagine if they had gotten their wish and people went on board with that. This kind of already shows some incompetence, wouldn't you say?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I
Yeah,
mean,
because like if you're supposed to be like the new regulator, then you should be like you should be on top of it. You should have systems in place where if something happens, it's flagged immediately. It's reviewed by a real person within a couple of business days, and then the traders messaged immediately from that point
yep.
from the review or well from the initial flag they should be notified and put on hold, and then a proper review should take place within a couple of days.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Hmm.
So, and the craziest part that this guy brought up, this guy Rob brings up is I was copy trading all four. So he only has four XFAs, you're about five. He says, I was
Yeah.
copy trading all four, but you only terminated one of my XFAs. So, how is that fair? Like, if you think about it, if a user, me, is hedging, let's say theoretically, I don't hedge, but if theoretically, Rob was hedging, we'll use Rob better than me.
Yeah. Hmm.
If he was hedging, didn't he violate their code of conduct on all of his accounts? Not one. Because
Right.
it takes at least two accounts to perform the hedging. You have to have one long, one short.
Hmm.
So how did you only terminate one account? It doesn't this none of this checks out, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just this is gonna fall under Section 24, right? Or what was the section that Top Step is notorious for throwing out there?
They got it's in one
I
of these
forget
posts,
already.
section 21 or something like that.
Yeah,
I can't remember which one it is.
which is Top Step's blanket rules of ambiguity to just say we can we can ban you for any reason, basically.
Yeah, and then this guy, he's getting kinda taken, to the cleaners on his payout, right? So, he was getting ready to put in his payout, so he puts in the payout, they don't approve it. He's like, "Okay, whatever, that's weird, I can't put in for the payout." At 4:59 PM, they say right before he would be
Right.
eligible to put in for the payout, they say, "Hey, we're moving you to live," so he can't take the payout. So, he can take some of the money out, um, I think, but no, they're really just stifling him, right? Because that's what happens when Topstep
Yeah.
moves you live. You go from 5 accounts to 1, you're not copy trading
Hmm.
anymore, and they're gonna suddenly restrict your sizing. You went from making good money to not making much at all.
Yeah. And that's a big reason why a lot of people, you know, like milking the prop firms in the sim funded stage.
Mhm.
You
We've
don't
c
you don't get this kind of leverage on live.
we've come back to your glass of milk. We've come full circle.
Exactly, yeah. So that's unfortunate. So, but the interesting thing though is he said that he locked himself out, which I do agree is smart. But I guess had he known, maybe he wouldn't have locked himself out and just requested the payout, and then had that mental discipline to not touch those accounts. That's how I interpret what I when he says lock myself out.
I think you just press that lockout button. So,
Yeah, right. So if you press that button, you're not eligible for a payout.
Yeah, you are.
is what he's saying.
You are though.
That's
That's
that.
that's what he's saying is he's saying they won't let him request a payout after he locked himself out because you are eligible. So like what people used to do, and I've done this before too, when I was with Topstep
Yeah,
is like once I knew I had the payout locked and then went to that new platform where you could request it like at any point in time, I would lock myself out for like an hour just so that there was
yeah,
no accidental trade taken or whatever, go and request the payout. And then if after the hour um, the funds hadn't been deducted, I would just lock it out for another hour and I would keep doing that because then you can like resume trading. You can like try to build your account back
right.
up if you see like if you want to copy it with another one or you see a viable trade setup or what have you. He took the trade Wednesday night. So like Wednesday night he locks himself out. All day Thursday they could have processed the payout. They choose not to and
That's
then
true.
1 minute before close they're like, "Hey, we're moving you to live." He's getting a little screwed.
Yeah,
And
that's unfortunate.
he said he's only had 1 payout on these accounts too.
Yeah, but I mean, if he's copy trading 4, then maybe it's like, oh, well, you're basically getting 5 payouts. That's how they're rationalizing that, perhaps. But in their language, though, they do say something about 5 being the maximum,
Right.
but they will evaluate where they could do it much sooner, depending on on how you trade with them. So they have the legal disclaimers. It sucks for him, but we know what the rules are, so
Yeah.
it's not entirely surprising.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably was trading gold too massively.
Yeah, it could be. So what's the last one? Do we got anything else? Is that it?
I think that pretty much covers everybody. You know, there was um a
Oh,
little
right.
bit of a
Top
price
step.
change. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, so one of the cool things about the prop space this past year was many firms switching from the fee plus activation model to just all in price,
Yeah.
and then Top Step kind of followed suit. But then that those discounts didn't last long. They still had the original fee, but then they reduced the activation fee, and then they had the new all in one tier. But then prices have come or been raised, and so
Mhm.
now their original offering basically is the same as it was, the 50
Mhm.
bucks or whatever plus the 149 activation fee. So I mean, I get it, you got to do what you got to do to to make money in the business, and that's what they feel like how to do. But uh you know for the price, there's a lot better firms out there, and we got discount codes with Lucid and Trade Day, 40% off. And they've been very consistent with their price, and they got lots of different plans. And these firms, they do change their plans from time to time based on what they
Mhm.
say is community feedback and
Mhm.
things. But you know I, I'm not feeling like I want to recommend Top Step anymore. Like I haven't in a long time, but I just think there's so many better options. And even if you don't want to trade Lucid and Trade Day, like there's a lot of great ones.
Mhm.
TPT.
Tradeify.
So yeah, Tradeify.
Yep, there's a lot of things that are doing better. And for especially for some of these firms like, like Top Steps all in no activation fee price, like it's at the same price point or higher than some of the other ones, but if you
Right.
listen to what Top Step said, if the vast majority of their users are never passing a prop challenge, the 109 fee brings in more money to their bottom line. So like you
Right.
kind of have to wonder why didn't you guys do this a long time ago? But
Yeah, I just feel like it was a typical introductory price to get people hooked, maybe
mhm.
liking the platform, and then a psychological where it's like, oh, I'm already invested with these guys. I want to make my money back with them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Rather than just moving on and trying to be successful somewhere else.
Yeah, for sure. There are definitely people who are still staying there because they like that Project X platform. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
For the most part, I liked it too. I especially like that lockout feature. I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
shoot, I hit a good winner, whatever." And there was nothing that could stop me once I locked out for the day. That's it.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. For sure. That was a great one.
yeah. Well, cool, man. Well,
But
we
why don't you guys let us know if you were you trading silver or any of these metals? How did you feel about getting blocked from trading metals on Apex? If you're with, let us know. And we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.